All right, welcome back to Beers Up Sports Talk, Episode 6. Sibo, Debo. Before we get started tonight, Debo, what you drinking on?
Got Iron Duke Brewery again, and it's Murph. It's an Irish-style red ale.
Nice, nice. And I'm back with Progression Brewery. Onward, probably my second favorite New England IPA that they have. Once again, because of COVID, I'm in the glass. COVID, my wife, all the same thing, right?
No comment.
A lot of football to get to, quick hits, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA game of horse. What was it, quarterfinals that went down last night?
Quarterfinals, yes.
Yikes. But first, let's get to the NBA. All right, first up, Jameis Winston. Let's go to the video. All right, welcome back to Beers Up Sports Talk, Episode 6. Sibo, Debo. Before we get started tonight, Debo, what you drinking on?
Got Iron Duke Brewery again, and it's Murph. It's an Irish-style red ale.
Nice, nice. And I'm back with Progression Brewery. Onward, probably my second favorite New England IPA that they have. Once again, because of COVID, I'm in the glass. COVID, my wife, all the same thing, right?
No comment.
A lot of football to get to, quick hits, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA game of horse. What was it, quarterfinals that went down last night?
Quarterfinals, yes.
Yikes. But first, let's get to the NBA. All right, first up, Jameis Winston. Let's go to the video. What the fuck was that, D?
Bruh, I couldn't tell you. I don't know one team that's going to pick him up after seeing that hot mess of training. He's dodging a big medicine ball that's like 4 times swollen, so it looks like it has elephantitis. And he's only moving it with his head. He's not getting out of the way. What's he? Is this dodgeball? Dip, dive, dodge, duck, and dodge again?
Bro, I don't know. Like, you wanna know why he threw just as many interceptions as he threw touchdowns last year? That's why. Because if those are the things that he's doing when he's training, that's why he can't have a better TD to interception ratio. Look, it's some kind of training. He's trying to put himself out there. Whatever. I don't fucking understand it. It's the goofiest thing I've ever seen. It's like Dak Prescott hip thrusts on steroids. But at least Dak Prescott was on the field doing it. At least you can understand I don't know. It makes a little bit more sense. This is just
he's stretching out his hip so he can.
Sure. I just Jameis. What are we talking about? What are we doing?
Like he's only thing he's doing is he's like bobbing with his head and moving his head out of the way. These defensive linemen are not supposed to hit him in the head. So what's he ducking for?
Look, man. I watched Tua's pro day things that he did last week. He's doing more than Jameis is doing, and I get it. Jameis isn't trying to be drafted, but throw a football for me one time. How about that?
I mean, so Tua's pro day, was that the one where he threw a bunch of outs to the back, the running back in the flats, and
he
then
did a lot. I watched the whole thing. I thought he did, but we're not here to talk about Tua. We're here to talk about Jameis, and I just don't. Again, this is an unsigned free agent whose team basically said, or the coach said at the end of the season, yeah, we'll take him back, but yeah, I think we can do better. And they went out and signed a Hall of Fame quarterback in Tom Brady, and now Jameis is sitting on the sideline ducking elephantitis medicine balls. That's where we're at. Speaking of Tampa Bay.
I like it. I think it's a great segue.
Let's talk about Tom Brady, copyright infringement, cheating ass Tom Brady trying to get some money out of some absolutely – tell me these names. I don't even – I can't wrap my head around how ridiculous this guy is.
So isn't one of them – the first one is TB by TB, so TBXTB. I mean, tell me what that means. What is that? Tom Brady by Tampa Bay? Okay, fine. Yeah. You want to copyright that? Great. But here we go. Tompa Bay?
That's hot.
That is wicked hot.
That's so hot.
Tampa Brady.
I might take my shirt off.
Tampa Brady?
Tampa Brady. Well, I mean, whatever. Again, go.
Hold on. The next one. Next thing you know, he's gonna be doing commercials for tampons, right? Instead of tampons. Woo.
I mean, look, bro. Get your money, Tom. I mean, you don't have enough of it already. You got $50 million guaranteed. Your wife damn near making $70 million a year. Go out and have a Tompa Bay. That's like, you want to talk about some dumb shit? Let's talk about Tompa Bay. Tampa Brady, whatever. I could get down with that. I could do that. That makes sense. Tompa Bay, go somewhere, bruh. Go throw a football.
I could have at first I was gonna go off and be like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. And I don't know if you saw, he tweeted out, I don't understand why Drew Brees hasn't done Drew Orleans.
Yeah, because he's not an idiot
or a douche, right? But you know what? I posted earlier for our on our IG page, and you know, I did some research to find an image of something that has Tampa Brady, and that shirt is already selling on Etsy. It's already selling on Buck Tee. It's selling on sites. So he's like, I like this, and I'm gonna make them stop so I can get the money. So in the end, I think it makes sense.
Go for it, Tom. Go ahead for Tampa. Do it, Tampa. Hey,
maybe he can buy a second island. Don't they already own an island? I don't
know. Throw a football for me one time. Like, you know what? Do something. Do something football related. Forget the money. Get out of my face, Tom. Go down to Tampa and don't ever come back. Or Tampa, whatever you call it. All right, next up. Let's just get past him. Let's talk about a trade that happened last week. Bringing another stud wide receiver to a team. This time, the Texans went out and got Brandin Cooks from the L.A. Rams.
Yes.
Right? L.A. Rams? L.A. Rams.
L.A. Rams.
What do you think?
So I was ready to go in on the Packers for this. Like, we talked about it in, I don't remember what I think it was our first ever episode. We talked, maybe the second one where we talked, because they signed Devin Funchess, so it was our second one. And we talked about how they needed someone like a Brandin Cooks. And they were like, or even OBJ. And I was like, Cooks is gone. He was obviously on the market. I think it was where are we here? It was a second round pick, and you're not willing to give that up for someone. But then you think about it. He's been in the league for 6 years, and this is his fourth team. And he's been traded every time. Now he was traded from the Saints to the Patriots for a first and a third, from the Patriots to the Rams for a first and sixth. And now I think people are starting to see it. He's been traded from the Rams to Houston for a second rounder.
Well, look.
There's something wrong with the guy, because why doesn't anyone want to keep him?
He's injured a lot.
He's had 1 year where he's had 84 receptions. His next highest year was 80, and everything else is under that. He's not a stud if you look at numbers. Granted, he's been hurt a lot. And now you're teaming him up with Randall Cobb, Will Fuller, who are both under 6 feet. Will Fuller is at 6 foot. Now you got probably the shortest wide receiving tandem or triplets, whatever you want to call them, in the NFL. I don't think it makes sense. You get rid of D-Hop and you bring back David Johnson. I don't think.
But let me ask you this: is their team better now? They've got David Johnson and Brandin Cooks, and before they had DeAndre Hopkins and fill in the blank running back. Huh?
Carlos Hyde? Was Hyde there? I think Hyde was there last year.
Hyde. I mean, Lamar Miller is coming back from ACL. Whatever. My initial thought was, good for them for getting another wide receiver that can slot in with Fuller, with Fells at the tight end spot. I don't think that it's a bad move. I don't think Cooks being on 4 different teams in 6 years is a bad thing. I think he's a guy that needs to be able to go. And again, he goes off with the Saints, right? Then he goes to New England and does pretty well, but he gets injured, right? And again, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I'd love to see what those New England teams, what Gronk's usage was in those situations, because again, that offense for the last couple of years has been predicated on Gronk being there when he's not.
So but then, I understand the Saints trading them, because that's when Michael Thomas really started to blow up. They're like, we have our number one. I think they had Ginn at that point still. And, they were like, you know what, if we can get a first and a third, why wouldn't we want to trade them? I just never understood New England letting them go, because they never, that was a great.
Because they didn't want to pay him. That's the whole thing. They traded him before they had to pay him. And the Rams paid him, and that's where he's been injured a lot. All right. And again, the Rams had one awesome year where they're in the Super Bowl and one
Yep.
year not so great.
Yep.
Right.
Well, he
And
was
now he
hurt
gets
all last year.
huh?
He was hurt most of last
Right.
year.
That's what I mean. But he, again, now he's with Deshaun Watson, who can go, man. This is I mean, again, I think it's overall, I think it's a pretty good move. I think in the end, if he's healthy, that team is going to be better next year than it was this year, which is hard to say because they had DeAndre Hopkins. But if David Johnson's healthy and Brandin Cooks is healthy, and let's be honest, Will Fuller is healthy, that team's better than DeAndre Hopkins, an injured Fuller, and Carlos Hyde as the running back. So, I mean, I think it's not a bad move. Again, you don't have a whole lot of draft picks, but when you're going to try and win Super Bowls, you're not going to have a lot of draft picks.
I think it kind of reeks of desperation, though, after making that trade. But
sure, but again, that's the thing. Like, it's very clear that there were some issues with DeAndre Hopkins, whether it was with him and O'Brien, with him and Watson, which I doubt. Right. Maybe he had made some maybe there were some rumblings of him wanting to get huge numbers and they didn't want to pay it. Now they've got to pay a lot of money to Cooks over the next 2 years, but it's just 2 years. And again, Hopkins, maybe they got to sign him to a big deal. They got to guarantee him 50, 60 million. And again, this is a team that's going to have to pay Watson soon. So I think in the NFL, what you see when your quarterback is coming up on their second contract, you have to be strategic about how you spend your money and how long-term you spend your money, because if you're not careful, you're going to go over the salary cap when you have to sign your quarterback. And again, they're going to have to sign Watson. Watson's going to get a ridiculous amount of money.
Yes. Yeah.
And in 2 years, Cooks will be out the books, where if they sign Hopkins to an extension, that's another 4 or 5 years that they're going to have him on the books. And then it gets really tough. And we haven't even talked about the fact that they're going to have to re-sign Tunsil, the left tackle, at some point.
And he was already getting ridiculous money.
Right. Speaking of ridiculous money, Christian McCaffrey just got paid today, bruh. 4 years, 64 million, yep. 16 million per year, highest ever for a running back. Initial thoughts, what do you got?
I mean, you have to say it's worth it initially, right? I mean, this past year was 2,400 scrimmage yards. Yep. 19 TDs. I mean, he did everything. Caught 116 passes. He's got 303 passes in his first three. He's caught 303 passes in his first 3 seasons. And he's had 2,000-yard rushing seasons. Mm-hmm. In 3 years, he's caught 2,500 yards worth of passes, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, guy does everything. And he's shifty enough where it seems like he's not taking a lot of hits. He knows when to get out of bounds. And people just aren't hitting him. So if he can stay healthy, it's 100% worth it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, only running back in history with 2,500 rushing yards, 2,500 passing yards in their first 3 years. I love it. I totally dig it. I think he's a stud. I think you basically say, listen, we got 4 years to figure this thing out. We got the 4 years of his prime. They're going to pay him now instead of paying him in a couple of years when, running backs tend to tail off. I mean, if you got the cap room, do it. At least you lock him up for 4 years. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good deal. And again, I still don't know what Carolina's doing, right? They're letting half the team go, but then they're signing Bridgewater for 20 mil. They got this guy for 16 mil. Like, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm happy for Christian getting paid, and it's not a bad deal for him.
I mean, so since 2012, and this is a tweet from Warren Sharp at Sharp Football, and he said since 2012, there have been 6 RBs, running backs, that have made an average of $10 million per year since then. 4 of them were cut or traded before the end of their deal. Mm-hmm. Marshawn, Adrian, David Johnson, and Todd Gurley.
Yep.
So I guess we'll find out what happens with Zeke and McCaffrey, because Zeke got paid too. So
yeah, I mean, those are two. Again, what's interesting is I want to say that the Zeke and McCaffrey are getting their extensions before, at least a year before their rookie deal ended. I feel like Gurley's was right at the end of it. And I think if you go 5 years with a running back, and if you take him in the first round, right, and then you sign him to an extension, I feel like now, yeah, right, like 7-8 years in, it's tough to think that guy's still going to be where he was year 3 or 4. So that doesn't surprise me too much, but I feel like McCaffrey's just 3 years in. So they're getting
this
him.
is his third year.
They're getting him 2 years before his deal's going to be up. So I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking, you're getting him years 4 through 8. I mean, you're going to get 2 really good years in 2 years where he's probably on a decline, but then you bring somebody in to kind of help him out.
Yep. And I mean, then you can also look at Adrian Peterson. I mean, he lost a year. Right. I mean, he lost a year due to the whole child abuse case.
Right.
And, they were just like, we're good. Like, that's why he didn't get brought back.
Right.
Because he could perform. He's still performing.
Right.
I mean, not at that level, but he could have still performed. I mean, the dude ran for, 1,600 yards the year after tearing an ACL?
Yeah, guys, he's not human, I'm telling you.
Right.
All right, now, speaking of first-round draft picks, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals. He don't want to play for him, does he?
No. He originally said something like, I'll play wherever, and now it came out that he really doesn't want to go there, and he supposedly reached out to them to say, I don't want to play for you. I think we've heard this before, right?
Right.
What was it? Eli Manning didn't want to go to the Chargers. Chargers drafted him and got what they could for him from the Giants. Yeah. And I think that the Bengals should do the same thing. They should draft him. And then,
I think they should draft him, and then they should tell him to shut the fuck up. And
again, I mean, here's the thing. If you can draft them and then see what you can get, float them out there.
But I feel like this happens every year. I feel like this is what players do because there's 2 things, right? One, there's that outside chance that Cincinnati drafts him and trades him. There's the idea that somebody offers a ton of picks and they swap with them and they get to draft him. There's also the idea that you just kind of run up the market value of this guy, right? And so, like, I don't know. I feel like there's somebody in the draft every year that says, I don't want to play for so-and-so. And then they get drafted by that person. They signed a big deal, and they're good to go. Right. What Joe Burrow wants to do is he wants to be the number 1 overall pick. He doesn't want to fall to number 5 or number 6 or number 3 or you say, whatever. Yep. He wants to be drafted number 1. That's the most money. You're the number 1 pick. You're worth more in that situation. Whereas if you slide a couple picks, that's dollars out of your pocket. So don't tell me that you don't want to play for the Bengals if they have the number 1 pick. And also what you don't want to do is you don't want to leverage the team that trades for you, their future or their other draft picks or their talent by giving up a bunch of things for you. So I think it's just smoke and mirrors. I think Cincinnati's probably going to draft him if they like him number 1 and call it a day. Cool story, Joe. Like, you played 1 really good year of football. Shut the hell up. Be the number 1 draft pick. Get paid. And oh, by the way, go play with a Hall of Fame wide receiver.
Thank you.
Pretty good running back.
Is that offense, they got Mixon, they have Green, Ross. Right. I think they're still with the team, and they have the other receiver too. He has so many weapons around him that he should be able to walk into that city and just play above average, and he'll be perfectly fine for his first.
And again, unless you hate, maybe he hates Cincinnati, maybe he hates Ohio because he was at Ohio State and he's now, and he finished up at LSU, but whatever, bye, Joe. Go somewhere, man. I have no time for that stuff. You're going to get drafted number 1. You're going to be the number 1 overall pick, and you're going to get paid, and you're going to go play in Cincinnati.
I like your attitude today, Sibo.
Whatever, man. What's he going to do? What's his end game? You push off on Cincinnati, and who comes in and takes that pick? No, probably no one's been checking him out. I'm sure some people have had conversations with him, but nobody's probably figuring out. Just like nobody's doing their due diligence on the number 2 pick, the DE out of Ohio State, just because he's going to Washington. The hell.
Right. And I don't understand how that offense is good enough where you could win some games now, where if it's another team, you may not do that just because it's a better location. Like maybe he wants to be in LA or whatever, but
yeah,
they're not going to give up on Goff. They're not going to give up on, I guess the Chargers could trade down, but they're not going to.
Yeah. Again, I just don't see a situation where a team throws a bunch of draft picks at Cincinnati to get him out of that number 1 spot. And again, if they've been locked on this guy, and who knows, maybe they're not, I don't know. If they're locked in on him though, they're not going to change their mind because he went out and huffed and puffed to the media. I don't have time for that.
No, I agree. And I think, before we get into NBA horse, no, he wasn't he's not a Hall of Fame player, but was heard, I believe today, that Tavares Jackson passed away in a car crash,
RIP.
36 years old. Never what you want to hear, but
No.
figure we should throw it up for him.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Yeah, that's super sad. Also, yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those things where anytime an athlete passes that you like grew up watching, it just is like really tough. Like obviously like Kobe earlier this year. Yeah, it's just weird to have that happen. You hate to see it.
Kate asked me, and she's like, "Who's he?" I was like, "He was actually quarterback for the Vikings in that playoff game where we had people over the house that time." And she was like, "Oh, I remember him." But yeah, it was good. Yeah. He was a good complimentary quarterback, and definitely too young.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, NBA horse.
NBA horse shit.
I mean, here's the deal. I did not do my research. I did not know what I was getting myself into. Right before I turned it on last night, I made the mistake of going to Twitter, and I got kind of some unwelcomed feedback as to what I was about to tune into.
Yep.
Not great. I mean, again, here's the thing. It's live sports, mildly entertaining, people kind of cool to see them out there, some of them with their kids in their backyards. We can talk about girl setups versus guy setups. Maybe we should equal pay there. I know it'll never be, but like I felt kind of bad for the girls in the setup, though Tamika Catchings did have a gorilla hoop, so like respect to that. But I mean, I guess you just kind of forget that in this social distancing world, to try and do something like this takes so many things to go right. Yep. Like I'm watching some like jumpy video of Paul Pierce in like winter clothes trying to make a layup. And it's
which he could not do.
Which he couldn't do. Right. And we'll get to that. But tell me what you thought about horse.
It's, it's the backyard game that we all played growing up. So I think it was a good idea. I think they might have wanted to push it back a little bit more and really try and figure out how they can make it a little bit better. But I think, they're trying to take advantage of the free time because, everyone's hoping we don't have this free air on television. I think that the next couple rounds will probably be better because they'll have they're going to have some things that they know what worked, what didn't work. And
so I wanted to talk about that because I think in my mind, I was thinking about me playing horse, right? And trying all the absolutely ridiculous shots that I would try, backwards, left hand from 3-point, like just ridiculous. And then you realize like, they weren't going to do this for like 3 hours. They weren't going to watch Conley and Catchings do this for 2.5 hours while they tried absolutely ridiculous shots. Bouncing it, try to get it to go in. Like this was, listen, guys, we're going to play horse, take a couple jumpers, see if it'll work, maybe try 1 or 2 ridiculous shots, but that's it. And I get it, like for the value of watching it on TV live, it was pretty cool. But it just like it was kind of tough to watch.
I agree. Well, it was very tough to watch Paul Pierce get skunked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I see. For me,
5 shots in a row, and it was just horse.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Like, here's the thing. I had these huge expectations, and that's completely my fault for thinking this was going to be some like really good production. Mm-hmm. It was just like really weird to watch 2 people in 2 different places, one standing there watching some small screen while someone takes a shot. You can't even really tell if it went in. You got the announcer, kind of the go-between. There's a lot of bank shots. People kept going back to the bank. Completely different scenarios that they were playing, and some people having to shoot from the grass. Down the hill. Mike Conley's got his own gym. Just absolutely ridiculous.
Allie Quigley won it with a bank shot, follow shot.
Well, right. I mean, that's the thing. It was like, I'm going to go back to the free throw bank shot. Like, and again, like in my mind, I was thinking like they're going to try some absolutely ridiculous stuff, but then we would have been there forever.
Those McDonald's commercials.
Well, maybe not
Larry Bird, Michael Jordan.
Right, not the Bird Jordan ridiculousness, but like a little bit more with like Mike Conley, like doing the layup over the backboard. He did like the bounce, turnaround, fadeaway three.
Yeah.
Like more than just like, I'm going to take this like 12-footer and bank it like every NBA player can do. And again, I'm thinking like this is going to be awesome. They're going to be trying these ridiculous shots, but they can't be doing this for 2 hours. Nobody's going to watch.
Right. But you could edit that down. Oh no, it was live.
It was live, right? So like you can't, I mean, you could edit it down, I guess if you want, but like, and again, like some people are out there in like cold weather. Like Paul Pierce is dressed to the nines. Chauncey Billups is like, I gotta like unfreeze my hands. Just, Trae Young doesn't even attempt a long distance shot. Like, what do we do? Like Trae Young should have been like, I'm just gonna pull up from the logo and just call it a day.
Right. So where's Paul Pierce living that it's that cold?
I don't know.
Boston? I thought he was in Cali. But
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't know.
Maybe if they, maybe next time they say, hey, let's find some people in warm climates.
Well, and then there was like stuff that like Giannis couldn't participate because he doesn't have a basketball hoop in his house, which first of all, if you're a professional basketball player, I feel like you should have a hoop, but I'm not going to judge him for that because I already don't like him, but you don't have a hoop in your house. But no, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was fun. I watched it last night for a little bit, watched some highlights today. I mean, it's cool. It's a good idea. It's live sports, but it like doesn't get the blood pumping for me.
Well, let's go over the results. It was Chauncey Billups had
Trae Young,
but defeated Trae Young.
Yeah, big comeback.
Yep. Mike Conley only had an H and defeated Tamika Catchings.
I felt like he was just doing it. Again, he has his own gym.
He's inside.
Door,
yep.
Probably pretty comfortable in that space.
His gym is bigger than my house.
Correct. He's also making $35 million a year, so that's neither here nor there.
Zach LaVine not missing a shot and defeating Paul Pierce.
He had some good stuff, and he even said he had some stuff up his sleeve, so I like what he was doing.
No doubt. And then Allie Quigley had HOR and defeated Chris Paul.
Yeah, I feel like that was the one where it was like Quigley had like the like hoop that you got from Dick's for like $1.30. Like Paul had like the absolutely legit like workout space outside. Like that was one of those where I was like, man, she's just in like some nice neighborhood and like Chris Paul's in his backyard where he's probably got like 100 acres.
Yeah. I mean, she got out to a big lead. Paul made a little bit of a comeback and then it was just
he had that legit shot. Did you see that one? Like the hold one leg, turn around, fade away with the right. It was awesome.
Nice.
Then he got beat.
Yeah, he did get beat.
So overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
I'm going to probably rank it high because it was, 6.7.
6.7 or 6 or 7?
6 or 7 in that area. So we'll say 6.5.
Okay.
But I think that they can definitely improve on it. And we'll see what happens in the next round. Do you know the matchups? Is it just
I don't.
Conley, LaVine, Quigley?
No, I don't. And you know what? Here's the thing. Like, it's good fun. It's live. Like you said, I hope that in the next rounds they beef it up a little bit, get some funky shots, try some things out other than bank shots from the free throw line, and it becomes kind of entertaining. Again, it's raising money for COVID-19 relief. It's a good cause. It's good fun. It's live sports. It's something that we've been missing from our lives. I can't be mad about it. But I'd probably give it like a, just because I'm feeling good tonight, like a 6.9. But like, it is what it is.
Good number. So when are you going to get a hoop so we can have one of these horse challenges live on IG?
Probably when I can go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy one.
Well,
I'm not going there now. I guess I could order one online, right?
I say curbside pickup.
Yeah, but I want to get one of those Gorilla hoops, which means I'm going to have to do some serious install. I'm just not there yet.
Fair enough. I mean, the one I had took me way too long. But there was also no directions with it. So.
Hey, man, good for you.
Yep.
All right, brother. Any parting shots? Episode 6?
No parting shots. Yep.
All right, man. Till next time. We'll see ya.
Peace.